Hey dude, what's up? I have finally put together the ultimate mastering template for Reason using only stock plugins, and I want to give it to you for free. I've put a link down below where you can download this template, and then you can drop whatever audio files you have in, and you'll be set up and ready to go. Boom. You're welcome, and thank you. Check that out. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how this template is set up so you can make the most out of it, and then we're going to kind of mix a song, and I'm going to teach you how to master. Not mix a song. We're going to master a song together, and I'm going to teach you how to master a song in Reason using this new template. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel because we're going to have lots of other great and helpful Reason tips and tricks coming through and more awesome downloads. And leave a question or comment if you've got another way of mastering, or if you've got a different method, or if you've just got any questions about how this works. So let's take a look at the way this template flows. I have exported the stereo wave file of my song and dropped it into audio track 1. This is the only audio track in the template. So this, if we were to hit play, it's kind of a rock song. And I've set a loop to the loudest part of the song, the final chorus. Another thing you're going to want to be sure to do is hit disable stretch so that the song will not be stretched to the tempo of the template, but it will be its original length. It might otherwise sound too fast or too slow. Now let's actually look at what's going on here. So audio track 1 is where you put your song in. The reason this template is so fantastic is because it flows from one section of processing to the next in a very clear and clean way that is easy to understand what's going on. So basically, you drop the audio into audio track 1, which is routed into a new channel, which has Subtractive EQ, an equalizer set, which you should then use for Subtractive EQ. Then it is routed into a bus compressor, where you can do gentle, full range compression. Then it is routed to a multiband compressor, which you can use for multiband compression. Then it is routed to an additive EQ, so you can add in some shaping and colorful EQ. Then we've got 2 different steps of coloring, which is basically, tape saturation, that sort of thing. And finally, some stereo widening, and then it will go into the maximizer at the very top of the master channel here. Now, you're never going to want to use all of these processes, or almost never going to want to use all of these processes. But these are the things that I would do most in mastering. So by default, everything is bypassed. We've got all these inserts here. You see they're all bypassed, and they're bypassed here. But they're also set up in logical order so that you can, get a song in and you can hit bypass and fuddle with this. Maybe you want the master bus compressor on, maybe you don't. Maybe you want the multiband compression in, maybe you don't. But it's really easy to quickly get a new instrument, a new processing tool in with this mastering template. And it only uses stock plugins. The other thing is you can really easily rearrange the order of things. I mean, it's more than just dragging, but what you would do is you would, right now the bus compressor is going to multiband compression, but we could change it to go to additive EQ, and then we could change additive EQ to go to, multiband, multiband compression, or whatever it is we want to do. So you can also really easily move things around. Everything is at a consistent volume, so it's not like we're adding gain just by running it through a bunch of channels. So, with that said, let's get started. Also, notice that we've got really nice levels here to get started with mastering. Averaging around probably a little below 14. So we're not going to need to add too much heat to this. I think we want to aim for like an average of -14, which we're probably a little bit below right now with a peak of -1, which we'll get into in a bit. So I do always like to add subtractive EQ. So we're not going to bypass this. And you can either use this EQ or this EQ. It's actually the same EQ, so it doesn't really matter. Whichever you prefer, if you prefer the visual or the non-visual. But let's take out some of the harsh frequencies. It seems like there's a little too much edge here. So I'm gonna look for something up in this higher range. And we'll turn on E mode to make it more precise. And then the low end seems a little muddy, maybe around 200. Now let's listen to before and after the subtractive. It just sits a little cleaner. And we'll also turn on our high pass filter just at 20 to get rid of the most low end stuff. Now I was already running this into the bus compressor when I was mixing it, so I'm not going to turn this master bus compressor on again because that would just be doubly compressed and wouldn't be super helpful. But if you haven't already run it into a bus compressor, it can be really helpful. Or you could, use the wet dry knob here to do like sort of a parallel New York style compression where we could slam it. And all the way wet. Sounds horrible, but if we just adds a little pop. But I don't think it's working on this side. I think it's taking away too much. Next, we have a multiband compressor, which you can sometimes use to either control harshness in the high end or too much just variation in the low end or somewhere in the middle. This is a very complicated layout. The only way to do it by default in Reason with stock plugins, you basically have 4 compressors all covering a different band, and it's labeled 0 to 125, so that's how much compression you would have here, how much compression you would have in the lower mids, in the mids, and then the highs. And there are a lot better third-party plugins for doing multiband compression. All of them are way more user-friendly, but this is free. And so let's see if maybe let's take a listen. Maybe a little more control in the high end. Takes away a little bit of the harshness, where it's a really fast attack time, which I wouldn't normally use, but I think because both the guitars and the hi-hats are a little sizzly, this just takes them under control. But I should add some makeup gain. Well, there's 2 dB, but everybody has 2 dB by default. So let's add just a little bit more. So In the version of this that I'm going to give to you, I will now take it. I'm going to take out all this gain. So whatever you download is not going to have this gain by default. And then you can more accurately compare the bypass versus the non-bypass. Now we can hear more accurately. Let's turn this limiter off. Okay, now we can directly compare. A little bit less. That sounds a little bit better to me, just a little more control. You can see the beauty of this system because you've got the ability to quickly A/B everything. Now in terms of Additive EQ, where you can add a little bit more tone shaping, I am going to, I think, try and add just a little bit of low end here. Let's see, like around 100. Lower sounds better to me. I wonder if a bell wouldn't be better. Yeah, I think that just makes it hit a little harder. Now you have the choice of a couple of different coloring options. I mean, you can dial in whatever you want to color it, whether you have a vintage emulation or whatever. But we'll see what the Audiomatic with the tape sounds like. We don't want to hit the tape too hard. To have a little more body and glue with this end. Although I feel like I need to take a little more low end out now. So I'm gonna actually do just getting a little rounder through the tape, but now we've scooped out some of the mud and the other stuff from the low end, but we've still got the kick, and that's like maybe the fundamental of the bass punching. We're not even gonna bother with this second coloring EQ. This is gonna be an either or coloring process, and these are just two settings that I like to start with. Now let us add a touch of stereo widening. So we'll turn this off, or bypass on. Bring this way lower. And so you want to be really gentle with this on the master bus. It would be better to put this on earlier when you're mixing, for example, if you wanted to put this on the guitars and make the guitars themselves wider or the bass narrower. But we're just trying to get just a little bit more space here and definition. Totally. Like that's just gonna sound awful. And then no bend. That there sounds like a good compromise. Tight, low end, wide, upper end. So now we go to the maximizer, and arguably you could put this on first just so you don't clip along the way. You'll probably want to turn on soft clipping, but a very simple amount to prevent it from clipping. Now let's watch this. Let's slow it down. We'll just do a more extreme setting to begin with, and we'll turn the output down so we can hear it more clearly. But slow attack speed is probably going to be more natural. Fast is more aggressive, but it's choking the life out of the song. We want the look ahead. Look ahead can prevent some of the pumping that we're hearing, and a slow attack or release is going to sound more natural. But auto, I think, is even better. Now let's pull up hardware interface, get the big button so we can really see it clearly. Right, averaging around 0, so we're in just the right spot. We're not going to be able to. So there you have it. This is a really powerful, streamlined, easy to go way to mix in Reason without having to break the bank. There are certainly plugins I would recommend. I think Ozone is the best plugin, period, for mastering. It's a really powerful tool. I use it on every song. I do not use this template because workflow is even easier in Ozone, and I think some of the individual parts are better, and I would highly recommend you check it out. I've put an affiliate link down below if you want to see the price of that. It often goes on sale, so check it out. But either way, download this template, because if you can't afford Ozone yet, this is going to make you have much better mixes, much easier in Reason. And even if you do have a specific plugin, whether it's a multiband compressor or a fancy EQ you like or some tape simulator, you can drop them into this template and use them for the components if this system and workflow makes sense for you. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave any questions you have about how to use this or any comments about what you'd improve. And like this and subscribe for more great things. Thanks. Bye.